Welcome to E-Pathashala lecture series for MArch students. Under the topic Urban Landscape Design, we will be looking into the chapter Elements in Urban Landscape Part 2. In Urban Landscape Part 1, we have seen the elements in urban landscape, that is parks, communal areas, waterways, greenways and various types of gardens and enclosed spaces, open spaces, courtyards, atriums, etc. to improve or enhance the lifestyle or to give a good healthier environment to the user of the urban areas. Now, we are looking into the landscape design, how to select the plant species, how to design the soft landscape and the hard landscape, what are the main parameters we need to keep it in the mind, and how do we choose this plant cover. In soft landscape, as we know, it is basically only natural elements. It is not man-made interventions at all. So, we see mainly two main classification, one is aesthetic and other one is functional. Functional, it gives you the value systems and needs to be user friendly, it needs to give good visual, it needs to connect the background as well as the foreground, and it acts as a screen. In this, the plant materials can act as a screen edges, can be a visually barrier, or it can control the noise. It can be a climatic, microclimatic element. Again, it is acoustical, territorial and illusory. It gives an image or an impact that everything is green, not a concrete jungle. Other side, if we look at aesthetic, the design principles of architecture, it's universal, it is similar for even for landscape design also. The accent, repetition, proportion, sequence, balance, contrast, variety, using shape, color and texture. You may wonder how we can achieve these things in the landscape design. It is possible because all these plant materials, they are not uniform in terms of color or texture or shape. Enormous amount of varieties are available, and with the built element, and when we integrate the landscape element, we need to create a balance, and with the skin of the building and with the green cover, we can create a contrast to this entire setting. Proportions, some trees can be dwarf, some trees can be tall, some tree can be wide and some shrubs are there which is shorter variety. So, we can create a proportion in terms of the arrangements, sequence, it can be a cluster, it can be chaotic, it can be radial, it can be linear, it can be circular, it can be gridiron pattern, it can be any form, and we can repeat it in equal intervals, and we can create a accent to the visual. So, in these ways we can create a aesthetic feeling in an urban areas. We have seen functionally how we can achieve these soft landscapes. So, main thing we have to keep it in the mind, it needs to fulfill functional as well as aesthetic value. Then it gives a complete job done in any kind of landscape design. So, under soft landscape, we removed or we treat water in a separate manner, because it is an element, it can be merged with a green or it can be a distinct element also. The principle lies similar, it is universal. any element, it needs to fulfill either aesthetic or functional values. In water, aesthetic sense, first priority it is given as the shape or the form. So, it is geometrical or it is organic, and how big it is or how small it is. It can be flowing vertically, or it moves in a horizontally. All these things comes under a criteria for a aesthetic value. When it considered to the functional water element, it is illusions, sound, climatic activity. It acts as a microclimate or a passive design elements to make the building cooler. So, we can integrate both green and water into any landscape design. Only thing for the water, we need to consider little amount of maintenance and rate of evaporation values, and we have to think about the climatic condition of that area, either it is humid or either it is hot and dry. Where we can use appropriately these elements, we need to choose it, and according to that we have to give our design. So, we have seen green, water, third element is landform. Landform, it is a geographical setting or a natural settings existed by on its own. Among that also we have the same categories of aesthetics and functional. Aesthetics, it's a variety and it gives a focus. Some landform can be created by a mount, or it can be having a stone boulders or anything. It creates a focus. Sometimes we have mountains in urban areas, and we have functionally, either it is a setting or a barrier from one place to another, or it gives a elusive feeling of the landform, some undulations, some contours, and all these things will come into the design parameters for soft landscapes. So, students, we have seen soft landscape. Soft landscape, we have seen how to use plant material, how to use water, how to use landforms. 3 elements comes under the soft landscapes. Now, look into our man-made ventures, that is hard landscapes. We created for our benefit. So, among this also we can broadly categorize into aesthetics and functional, but here the typologies like it is pattern, types and materials. So, material plays a major role or a vital role in the hard landscapes according to the urban areas or according to the localities. We can create n number of patterns. Here I have given a very limited patterns, so that the basic patterns which we all knew, we can understand it. One is linear, radial, grid, circular, organic, benched. N number of varieties are available. We can create n number of patterns in the circulation pathways. So, these patterns where we can create. One is either the vehicular movement pathway or the pedestrian walkways, or where they park their vehicle in that area, or we can provide a specific circulation path for a cycle paths, or when there is a steps or a movement for ramps, bridges, underpassing the bridge, we can create these types. By using what types of materials? We can use wood. Wood is a long lasting material, but it needs to have certain amount of maintenance because it cannot withstand with the frequent change of temperatures, like either hot sun and then frequent rains and everything. It needs to be protected with well preservatives. Brick, of course, we can use it, and bitumen, which can be used for the roads. The bricks can be used for the pavements and as well as for the sitting furnitures and all these categories. And we have concrete, stones, natural stones or vertified materials like tiles, or miscellaneous materials, n number of materials. We can use pebbles and other materials also. Materials, it is plenty. Patterns, they are plenty. And types, for the movement, it is only circulation path. It's connecting from one place to another. It can be a vehicular pathway, or it can be a pedestrian pathway, or it can be a parking area, static element also. It can be bypassing areas. There we can integrate these materials as well as the soft landscapes to give good aesthetic value to the urban systems. We have seen the main typology, soft landscape and hard landscape. Under soft, we have seen the green, the water and the landform. Under the hard landscape, we have seen the pattern, materials and functional values. Now, there are other factors which influence the landscapes. So, there are terrain. Terrain here, it shows or gives a clue for us as a contour. The climate of the place, the homes, the personal dwellings, bungalows, row houses, all these things will come under the criteria. The buildings adjoining to the roads, other physical structures, intend to use the property of other clients. All these things will influence the landscapes. We can find in a colder climate more amount of green spaces, more amount of open spaces, whereas in warm humid we can find large number of buildings and with a little open spaces. Again in hot and dry, more of desert climate and desert areas and ample amount of buildings. So, climate determines the landscape values, or it promotes the growth for the planting systems. Landscaping involves physical features or hardscapes. Previously, we discussed hardscape in the circulation pathways for the movement of pedestrians, cycle path, all these factors. Now, how do we integrate hardscape in a further manner? We can have fences, that is nothing but the railings, and terraces we can have green, retaining walls near the dams or the bridges, patios, walks. We can have pools, irrigation systems, or some amount of drives. In this way, we can amalgamate the value of hardscape and integrate the softscape in also in the design. So, architecturally we discussed about the functional value systems of softscape, hardscape, all these elements. Now, landscape, principal landscape elements. How do we classify these planting systems? We all knew about it: plants, trees, shrubs, ground covers and climbers. Trees, they grow up to a height more than 3 meter and grows further height. Shrub is the dwarf form. Ground cover which grows below 1 meter height. Climbers, it needs a support system, it can grow over the buildings. These are certain types of plant materials which we come across in our daily life and which we can use it as a principal elements in the landscaping systems. Next comes the water. Water is, as we know, it is our softscape. It can be used as a fountain or a pool or a cascades as a man-made interventions, or else water can be used as a natural systems like lake and water bodies. Landform, it can be exposed rock elements, rock compositions, or it can be sculpted slopes which can be part of an interior also, we can integrate it. So, architectural elements, if we consider it as a paving walls, pergola, trellis, all these things we can use it in the buildings. A pergola is a short cover used in the terraces which admits light and air and gives certain amount of shade. Trellis system, it looks like a jali work which admits the visual interaction from inside to outside, not from outside to inside. It creates a barrier but gives a clear vision and interior element. Now we look at these examples. This is an historical building. Here water channels, water features, water is running as a channel. Again it is connected with a sculpture. In the mid of it you have some fountain is there. Around that they have planted a lemon citrus plant trees so that it gives the aroma to the entire area as a centered place and enables the guest to choose their own fruit. In the historical period of time, they grow lots of these fruit varieties in these open spaces and integrate these open spaces into the buildings. So look at it in 17th and 18th century. A sense of belonging or sense of aesthetics is high during these Islamic periods. They have integrated the hardscape, softscapes in a well manner for the user and also to promote the high functional values in the buildings. Now, how to choose this plant material for landscape? We know about trees, we know what is shrub and we know what is ground cover, climber or creeper. But how do we choose the appropriate plant material for a landscape? The first one has even plant material also have an habit. It has a color and it has a season for the flowering. It has its own form and the rate of growth and environment considerations. The fifth is very important for urban design or urban areas. Certain plants which takes rate of growth very slow. It grows 1 meter in another 5 years. Certain plants which grows rapidly and it doesn't have the stability against the wind. It falls whenever there is a calamities of heavy blow wind or a rain or a cyclones. So we need to be very careful or choosy when we select the plant material for the landscape. And also we have to think about the environment considerations. Nowadays city is facing a crisis of issue of water. The groundwater level is going down. So we should choose a plant material which does not takes the or decreases the ground table values and less consumption of water and more resistance to the wind and dust. It gives us a noise barrier. All these considerations we have to keep it in the mind when we choose a plant material for landscape. Now color, we have n number of varieties: white, yellow and red. The common flowering yellow color Cassia fistula and red Bombyx ceiba and white Alstonia scholaris. The certain varieties of plant will be available according to the regional, according to the habitual place. We cannot pick out Cassia fistula and plant somewhere in a hot and dry climate. So we have to be choosy for the indigenous tree of that particular place. The plant material which grows in that place, we have to consider it, and we can recommend only these plant materials because they don't have a adaptation to live in a hot and dry. Certain plant materials requires a cold climate. Certain plant materials requires a hot and dry. For example, cactus will not be grown in a cold climate. A pine tree will not be growing in a hot and dry climate. So beyond color, we have to choose even the keep on the back of our mind climate also as a value and choose these colors in the urban systems. There are some other varieties. We do have commonly in India, we can find purple, Bauhinia, and orange, red, crimson, scarlet is the most common Indian species which you can find in the roadways or in the highways. These are some of the pictures for you with the different colors. You may have purple, red and white and yellow and red is here. So Cassia fistula is most commonly we can see in the many state highways and some of the species. Now we knew about flower, we knew about color, now season of blooming. Certain plant species they bloom like kurunji, like in once in 24 years. We cannot choose this plant species for our urban landscape design. We need something like a plant which gives ever blooming so that it gives an eye soothing for the people who use the space. So one such is the Thespesia populana, Arasamaram they will tell, and winter blooming, Bauhinia, spring blooming, summer blooming, rainy season blooming. So they categorized the plant species according to the seasons. It's so coincidence how God has created these species according to the climatic systems or according to the seasons. Certain plants blooms in winter, certain plants blooms even in summer. Certain plants blooms only in rainy seasons. So we need to choose an alternative variety or a mixed varieties of all these plant species when we create a landscape areas for a parks or a communal systems or a plazas. All these plant species in a picture. Now range of tree sizes. How big we can have a tree on the roadside or how small we can have a tree. So dwarf varieties they are considered like 3 to 5 meter. All these species are comes under dwarf varieties. So most of the dwarf varieties we can find in the state highways or communal park areas. So one such example is the Albizia lebec, Browneria grande and Plumeria rubra. Certain trees which grows in a greater height, which is grows under medium sized plants they are classified. They are 6 to 10 meter. Sisal pinia, Largestromia thorley, Saraca indica, they are some of the examples of medium sized plants. Tall trees which grows more than 110 meter tall. It's so huge and it also takes the growth of the trees years to achieve that height. It will be higher in number. Coricia speciosa, Jacaranda and Spatula campylata, all these things will come under the tall trees. Giant trees, they are huge trees. The branches continues as a chain and it makes as a giant trees. Ficus benjalinus, the banyan tree. Bombuxiba, Colvillia racemasa, they all come under the giant trees. They are not coming under dwarf or medium sized trees and the canopy of the tree is so wide it comes under the giant trees. We have this example of Albizia fabac here, Cassia fistula here, the yellow color and Ficus benjamins. We can look at it in the picture how giant it is and Pittosporum. Look at the canopy is looking very different from the Ficus benjamins. It is dwarf and there is a spreading variety like the canopy is like weeping. Certain trees are oval in shape in the form when they grow, when all these leaves together, when you look at the canopy, we will have an image of a oval. So, one such example is Populus albea and other varieties. Certain species looks like a vase shaped. They can be used above the large shrubs or the small trees. Plumeria, Saraka indica will come under the vase shaped. Certain trees will give us a pyramidal like triangular in form. Thuja, Polyalthia longifolia, and we have Ashoka tree. Normally we used to say this grows in a conical direction or pyramidal direction. Round, certain species are round. Plumeria alba, Morus rubra and Curus, they are some of the examples of round varieties. They can be used as a focal point or a row series of avenue trees. We can use as round shaped varieties. Columnar, Juniperus, Petula pendula, Polyalthia pendula, they are the examples. Eucalyptus also come under the columnar variety. They give a structure, that is like a structural elements to the buildings. Certain plant materials will give us a weeping, it gives a focal point. We have a picture later. There is Salix babylonia is an examples, and certain examples are given below. Round to spreading, they change the mass from one form to other. Dalbergia sisu, Dillenia indica, they are the varieties. Some plant materials which gives like a fan shaped, they can be used as a focal point. Cycas revoluta, Ordoxia regia, they are the examples. Now look at it, all the examples what we have discussed so far. One is growing taller, Populus alba here, and this is a form of weeping. Dalbergia sisu, Juniperus gives a triangular form. Plumeria alba, dwarf variety. Cycas revoluta, shrub variety. And Media azada, a round shape form of a tree. Every tree has a growth habit distinct, and it gives a visual impact different to the aesthetic value. Some of the sketches so that you will understand it better: columnar, oval, spreading, weeping, triangular and other forms. These trees we can have with centered flowers. So, we have discussed in the historical buildings gives an aroma. All these examples are given below, and there are varieties of trees which is resistant trees. Wind resistant trees which can resist to the heavy winds, and salt resistant trees which can be planted in the coastal areas, and the drought resistance which consumes less amount of waters, and it gives a good green cover to the urban areas. So, according to the topography, according to the climatic conditions, we can choose these kinds of trees in our locality. Wetland trees are there which grows only in the wetlands, and fast growing trees which we can plant it near the upcoming neighborhood systems or the roadways. Pongamia glabra, Sesbania grandiflora, they are excellently fast growing trees. Shade giving trees which can be given under the plazas. So, as a relaxation space, as a recreation space which gives a cover for the area. Trees which resist to the dust and the smoke, and trees which reduces the noise, which is having high acoustical values like Juniperus sinensis, and for dust and smoke it acts as a cleaner, Ficus benjamina and Ficus religiosa. The plants which increases the IAQ value, that is indoor air quality, So, Erica palm is a variety which removes the carbon dioxide and converts into the oxygen. It is a indoor plant area recommended for the office spaces. So, money plant is a very common indoor variety. Certain plant species which gives oxygen in the night and it gives carbon dioxide also is there. We need to be very choosy about the plant materials. And biophilia hypothesis. It's a theory found by the scientists. Human beings are healthier and safer when they are exposed to the natural conditions. So, it is mandatory to integrate natural conditions with the built environment so that they recover from stress and more quickly if they see natural environments. Overall, humans have better lives if they have natural environments. So, urban landscape needs to consider these aspects and creates high value systems in the open spaces and makes the human healthier. People want landscape element in the exteriors. Wilson biophilia hypothesis in 1984, based on this research, is given a consideration general affinity of human beings towards the nature. This proposition, though it is in context to landscape reference studies, can be extended and can be interpreted. An urban dweller lacks contact with nature and within the introvert condition interior spaces, the craze of greenery. Thus, people want landscape elements inside the buildings. It is manifested as atrium landscape, balcony gardens, bay window gardens and many more. So, this theory, biophilia hypothesis, we are keeping in the mind. We are creating the open spaces, urban open spaces or urban landscape elements in a city areas and create a functional value, aesthetic value and promotes a bond between the nature and the man-made factor and makes the life better, makes the city life conditions better in a healthier way. Thus, we understand how to choose the plant species based upon the usage, either it is a soft landscape or hard landscape, how to choose the plant form, how to consider the growth of the trees and how they are resistant, either wind or dust or drought resistance. Select the appropriate species according to the climatic conditions, how to integrate in the outdoor as well as the indoor. We have understood in the urban landscape design. Thank you.